Hi, I'm the Tabletop Teacher, and look at what the wonderful people at WizKids sent me, the Mighty Thor Avengers Prime Starter set. 6 figures, 1 special object, and yes, this is the one with the new rulebook and powers and abilities card. Now before you ask, please know that I can't talk about the new rules and powers right now. Soon, but not quite yet. That's the deal. But I can show you what's inside this starter set. WizKids also sent me the matching dice and token set and this premium map. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's look at this gorgeous thing. Okay, opening the box carefully. We have all the figures here, along with some white dice and the printed material. Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Hercules, Loki, and Hulk. Very nice sculpts. We'll look at these up close in a minute. Now, the printed material. Of course, we get all the cards for the 6 characters and special object in the set. We get terrain markers, barriers, smoke, special on one side, hindering terrain, and water on the other. 2 sheets of those, and a trio of both light and heavy objects. There's a 2-sided map which I'll unfold in a minute, and here we go, what many have been waiting for, the new core rulebook. Now, as I said, I can't go into it right now, but know that the 2017 version is in this starter set. And this is the new powers and abilities card. Same thing. Can't go into it now, but we now know for sure that it's in this starter set. It's going to be so much fun to rediscover everything. Can't wait to bring you guys new videos for all the powers and abilities as well. You get 2 maps with the set. The Grand Arena is an outside map with elevated terrain that almost surrounds the whole map and 6 huge boulders of blocking terrain in the pit. If you had 2 of these, you could put them side by side and create a huge map for battle royales. The other side is another outside map with an indoor section, the Covered Bridge of Gjalerbru. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing this correctly. I think it's the Norse equivalent of the River Styx. So an 8 square wide area of water terrain in the middle of the map on a lower elevation. You have hell on one side where a few dead trees act as blocking terrain and some sort of palace on the other side with a few squares of hindering terrain. The bridge is covered and is lined with walls, so unless you can shoot through walls, targeting characters inside the covered bridge is going to be challenging. Okay, now let's look at the characters, shall we? Number 1 in the set, top of the bill, Thor. He can be played at 100 or 50 points. He has a stop click on his 3rd click, which makes the 100-point starting line all the more interesting. But before he gets to that charge super strength mode, he has that great sidestep and range combat expert combo with 6 range and 3 damage. Wouch. Okay, so he starts as a range attacker, turns into a super strong charger, and finishes as a close combat expert attacker with 11 attack on his last click. Solid and pretty new player friendly figure overall. Now let's take a look at Thor's brother, Loki. He's a 100-point character that can use the Mystic's team ability. He has a single trait, no special powers, but wow, what a trait! You place a token on his card at the beginning of the game called an illusion token. He's going to lose that token at some point, but before he does, he'll have colossal stamina, but cannot be healed. Now, when Loki would be knocked out, you remove the illusion token, turn Loki back to his first click, and you're good for another go. He loses colossal stamina because he doesn't have the token anymore, but can now be healed. That is essentially a 12-click, 100-point figure, and don't forget, Mystics all the way. Brutal. Shape change on all but his last click, penetrating psychic blast or pulse wave, super senses or mastermind. I mean, this is going to be one tough character to knock out. Hercules is a perfect character for new players, a noob if there ever was one. You can play him at 100 or 50 points. No traits, no special powers, just a mighty close combat attacker that starts with charge, super strength, and impervious. Clean, strong fun. I find this version of Captain America especially interesting. Indomitable, the only one in this set actually, 50 points, 5 clicks with a stop click in the middle, that's already amazing. His Wielder of the Asgardian Shield trait makes it so he starts the game with the Asgardian Shield special object equipped without paying for it. That gives him energy shield deflection, which is perfect for close attackers like Cap. He starts with charge, combat reflexes, and close combat expert along with the long-range defense the Asgardian Shield provides, and that's an 11 attack on the first 3 clicks. A great figure for 50 points. He still has combat reflexes on his middle stop click, and it gives adjacent friendly characters a +1 to their attack. I really like this guy. Now here comes Iron Man, also sporting a very different look, and he's also amazing. Sure, he starts with Earthbound neutralized, so it's kind of a clunky start for a 100-point figure, but he's got outwit on that click as well. He's a super easy target with 16 defense, but that's the point. That second click is a stop click, so go ahead and put Iron Man in front of your opponent's main attacker. Take the hit, then gain invulnerability, give +1 to defense to all adjacent friendly characters, and now you can take a running shot with a wicked penetrating Psychic Blast variant that deals full damage to several opposing characters if they're all nicely lined up. All of that on top of Perplex for the rest of the dial. This is going to be fun. And the last character in this set, the Hulk. That's a very nice sculpt of the Hulk with his classic purple pants. His Hulk Smash trait is fantastic. When Hulk moves, that's after any move, and he's got Leap Climb on the whole dial. After that movement, he can use Quake at no cost. Look at that 50-point starting line. He can move 10 squares, use Quake with a 12 attack value, and then your opponent needs to go through an 18 defense with Impervious. Wouch! Now if you start him at his 100-point starting line, he starts with much lower values, but that only means he's going to be a total menace later in the game. Don't make him angry. Oh, and did you notice the Avengers team ability? That means his move actions don't count towards your action total. That's essentially a free attack. I love this version of the Hulk. And finally, in this starter set, we also get the Asgardian shield I mentioned earlier. This is a 4-point light object you can add to your team instead of a standard object, and you can have any one of your characters equip it to get energy shield deflection. All you need is to give a power action to the character that's in the same square as the Asgardian shield, and there you go. 4 points for better defense from range attacks is a bargain. You could play the whole lot in a 400-point game if you play Thor, Hercules, and Hulk at their blue starting line. Not a themed team though. You could have 4 Asgardians or 5 Avengers, but in any case you'll have different options to build fun teams with these figures. Loki might be a bit more of a challenge for newer players, but still accessible. These are all the powers you'd need to learn to play everything that's in this starter set. If you are a new player, this starter set is perfect for jumping into the game. If you're going to learn the rules of the game, these are the ones you want. And if you're a more experienced player, well, if you're like me, I was already in at updated Rulebook and PAC. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Mighty Thor Avengers Prime Starter set, and that it helped you decide whether or not this one's for you. I want to thank WizKids again for sending me this great starter set. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the Tabletop Teacher, support this channel on Patreon if you can, and as always, thanks for unboxing with me.